pretty sure earlier on in the year, or was it last year? I'm not entirely sure, but it wasn't a great time. Anyway, let's get onto the Rift here for game number 1. CFO on our blue side to start us off. First Dragon going to be that Infernal, and Fly going to see whether they can get off to a good start.
I love Gyos, by the way.
This is so cool that it's also like, there's not a, you know, like, it's not an LPL team on the Rift right now. And we're still getting the Gyos. It's just super cool.
Yeah, you can actually feel the energy, feel the excitement. Last day of Swiss, making or breaking dreams.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we are going to get the makings of a Raptor Ward.
Well, we already audaciously charging on top of Quad here. Does get taken down to half health, but he doesn't drop. And speaking of drops, a reminder, the drops are active all worlds long, so be sure to log onto your accounts at lolesports.com for a chance at earning some digital loot.
250 HP lead, Atlas in mid lane. Yeah, that is a pretty good level 1. I like that. Now it's 300 HP lead. Hongq here on the Azir having a really good early start. Even small things as going for a Raptor Ward and Jinja camping there with Hongq, so once you get vision of the enemy mid laner just jumping over for that early trade, can have huge ramifications for how this lane does play out.
And it used to be such a contentious lane matchup, even when the champions were in different positions, right, as far as power level was concerned. I think Azir taking the most recent nerfs, but Taliyah really lost a lot of power. And so I think Hongq's going to be pretty happy about how this one's going, because a lot of our Azirs really learned how to play this matchup.
Yeah, and I also like how CFO are going with the Doggo topside strategy again. Doggo has proven that he is very good at the AD carry, 1v1 situation on top side of the map, and Corki is a very powerful 1v1 champion here into Cassante.
Yep. You just saw there that we had a look at Hongq and Quad as well. Their shared champion pool, a lot of control mages that both of these players do like to play, but it feels like Hongq has been allowed to have more fun this world.
He's got the Aurora and Akali, which are kind of missing from Quad, so the fun of the mobility of those champions definitely can be on stage later in the series. Currently, though, Quad going for the early recall, so is just going to have the early tier purchase. Now, he didn't have any extra money, it looks like, for any potions. So this will be a Taliyah with no sustain versus Azir with still Biscuit in inventory and both potions available.
Oh dear. Well, that is an aggressive Valkyrie here from Doggo. Remember, he's already done this to Doran. So it is going to be Bwipo able to walk his way out, but you know that he's always going to be aggressive. In goes Kaiwing, speaking of aggression, as Quad, you mentioned the lack of potions. I think that was a poignant thing to talk about there, Kobe. Well done.
Yeah, and it gives value here to all these ganks towards mid lane, all the extra pressure.
Well, Ebapov does come on down here as Masu. Decent deadly flourish. His driver stands still for a while, but does have the scrap shield. He'll be all right. We'll just be convinced to go home.
Okay, so we have teleports available for both Driver and Bwipo. Bwipo did cancel his Rico, and he's sticking around, though, on 50% HP. As Jinja decides to call off the long play there. Leona was still coming over.
Still seems to be making his way up, as Jinja is going to, at the last second, cancel that recall. Still looking for a way in.
Yeah, I think if you delay it too long, though, the defense gets here. Vi is on the way. Busio's actually not coming up here, though.
He cancels another one. Another audacious charge goes in. Wind becomes lightning, connects, but hasn't seen Inspired. Finally does now. Looks like they were still considering it. That was very CFO of them, but they are going to back away in the end.
This is going to significantly cost.
Oh, we've paused. FlyQuest are like, no. CFO would go for that dive. These must be different players.
We get the sepia tone view of Summoner's Rift for a while. Nice calming view. All right, we'll update you on whatever caused that issue. But since we just saw them stick around, see, the cost of sticking around and threatening a top lane dive like that for Jinja is going to mean that he's pretty far away from second respawns of his camps. Since he actually cleared from bottom side up towards top side, he now should probably just recall so he can get his purchase off and then go re-clear from Krugs up. But he's going to lose a few seconds of tempo, and Inspired never loses a few seconds of tempo on his second respawn. He is always as soon as they respawn, I am up there, I am re-clearing. This guy is always trying to keep up his own farm. So we'll see if that ends up, actually deciding anything in the game, because sometimes you'll get like second respawns of Scuttle Crabs. If you're there a little bit early and Vi does have like brush advantage, it means the difference of a Vi getting a full charged Q, in which that actually does give you a chance to beat a Xin in an early scrap. Whereas otherwise, if they're just staring at each other on even timings, then you usually favor the Xin in, starting and creating a lot of the plays around those early objectives.
Yeah. And I don't know whether it necessarily matters. The whole time you were talking, I was like listening and then trying to work out what this means for later on in the game, right? Because we look at these compositions, I think we've seen CFO's comp played by a lot of different teams many, many times, and we know that it does scale quite nicely into the late game, but you don't have like a true tank necessarily outside of Pseudo the Leona. Corky's more of a mid-game champion. You don't have like the hyper carries there apart from, I guess, the Azir. But I'm looking on the side of FlyQuest, and I just don't know where the damage comes from later on in the game, unless Quad has like an incredible performance and lands a whole bunch of shoves. But we're gonna, I'm just not gonna get your opinion on that, because we're gonna get the opinion of the analyst desk. Take it away, guys.
Thank you. We'll give you an update momentarily, but this does give us a little chance to hear what you two thought about the draft. We were talking about it. Do you agree with the casters? What do you think?
I mean, my main takeaway is I just didn't really love the Alistar on 3. I do think picking Galio there would have made more sense, because I think since it's a game 1, like in my mind, Alistar is not so critical that you have to get it that early. That's not so much stronger than the other engaged champs. And also, it would have opened up more of an opportunity to go for support counter pick on 5 and try to get a winning 2v2 bot, something like a Bard angle or an Enchanter angle if it is there. So that's kind of where I was at, is, if you just go Galio on 3, Galio doesn't get banned out. It's a great answer to the Rumble. It's something that Bubba is super comfortable with, and then you go AD on 4, support pick on 5, and I feel like that could have set them up for a potential better draft. But this is not like a bad draft by any means. I don't think that they can't win or anything like that. I just would have preferred a different order. Yeah,
are you worried about the damage at all?
I think because they're pretty squishy on the other side, I don't think it's that big of a deal as long as Quad doesn't get put really far behind. Like, Vitalia is decent damage. Cassante is like... Cassante hitting a tank is nothing, but Cassante hitting squishy champions is something. Yeah. And Jhin is actually pretty bursty against these types of champs.
Yeah, I would agree. The only thing, because I think there were a couple of draft traps. Obviously, I think giving over Sire would have been a huge mistake, regardless of counter pick. We didn't see Fly do that. For CFO's end, I think their draft is just, as Atlas also ended on, we've seen this exact draft a million times. Like, it really does kind of everything. I think it scales decently well. Your front to back is solid. You can play for a couple of early skirmishes as well with that Leona and Xin Zhao combo. So I really don't got no notes on their draft. For Fly, though, the one thing that I was talking about with Azil backstage as well, I would have loved to see Sivir. I think that Sivir is one of those champions that would alleviate not necessarily damage issues
concerns.
if you stay even or ahead. I think the comp on the right is fine. Also, I have watched Gen G pilot way worse, but that's
you're talking about Gen G.
Well, okay, I was going to say it myself, but I do think that does influence how you look at drafts, right? Like the teams that you watch on a daily basis. But I do think that this is the type of draft where, as long as you don't fall behind, the amount of damage will be susceptible. If you have Sivir, though, it's a really good matchup in the Corki.
A knockout game, as long as you don't fall behind.
Well, yeah, but that's what this comp screams to me. You do have good tools to find picks from behind.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, as I was going to say, is that you do have Fly. Your two best players are on playmakers. You have Inspired on Vi. You have Busio on Alistar. I think they're the two stars of the team. They can find picks. They can make things happen. And I do like that they have agency here. Not that there was anything wrong with Sejuani in the game against G2. Like, I think he's great on Sejuani. He can play these things. But when he is on these types of picks, you just kind of have that feeling that he could make something happen for your team, similar to when Busio was playing Soraka. Soraka, I think, was great there. I think he's a great Soraka. But when he's on Alistar, it just kind of hits different, right?
Yeah, they could paint the picture a little bit for me, because I've become a little bit addicted to his Bard, because it's so good and I always want to see it. Do you think that in terms of Alistar, who of course can be a super playmaking support as well, that he's going to be able to really put a stamp on this game?
I definitely think so. I think he sets a really good Alistar game so far. He's very creative with his angles. He uses Hex Slash really well to try to circumvent vision. He's very good at tracking that. So I definitely think he can play well here. The reason he doesn't just go Bard on 3 is you're really worried about some of these lane counters that can be very difficult. I do think, if they wanted to go for a Bard angle, it would have had to be what I was talking about, where you leave it for 5th pick. But then CFO might have just banned it on their 4-5 bans, since in that world we're having like the top lane already picked.
I also think with the opening, like Azir to me doesn't really scream a champion that you really struggle playing into as well, because he has so much innate mobility. I think even Rumble we've seen be able to dodge a lot, and then with a lot of mobility carries still being open.
But it's the Bard CO.
Well, you know I love me a good Bard.
It's so great. When we look at stylistically the strengths of these two teams and the fact that for me, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think CFO is tremendous in finding the correct skirmishes and pushing their advantage forward. I wouldn't necessarily call them as good as FlyQuest, usually at kind of setting up for objectives and getting those objectives. And I say that only, Isaac, because in LTA, they are the best team at that completely, and they almost never drop the ball. So how do the comps work in that regard?
I mean, I think a lot of it is just going to be about like who's getting early advantages, what sides you want to play to. Obviously, they did lane swap level 1. Kaiwing, not Kaiwing, I'm looking at the Corki, but Doggo went top, obviously. So are we going to see them actually just trading? Are we going to see them contesting on the objectives? I do feel like FlyQuest absolutely wants to be first to objectives. When you are playing pick comps, you want to be trying to control vision, forcing them to walk in, and then having them scared that Alistar is in a brush somewhere. Having it be really difficult for Azir to walk forward, because you don't have, like I talked about at the top of the day, you don't have a Scion to just like walk in blind and tank the engage. Xin Zhao can't do that. Like, yeah, you're kind of tanky. Leona can't do that. Yeah, you're kind of tanky, but if you just walk into a full combo and get flipped in, you're going to die.
You're dead.
Yeah, to go towards the CFO win conditions, I do think that we saw their laning phase already started really well. Obviously, Doggo in the 1v1 was doing a great job, as you would in the range versus melee matchup. Then Junja was also able to find very early damage onto Quad, who actually has, as a result, not really, I think in this matchup, neither player should die, but not having lane prio does make that Junja is freed up. And I do think that CFO's comps leans into their strength very heavily in that every single member of this team is able to go in very consistently or able to assist in case of
And
rumble.
they do. I think the
They
cool
will.
thing
Oh,
is
they
that,
will.
and they will. They very much will. I think also for Junja, we didn't get to talk about it that much either. I think I've seen some huge Xin Zhao games the last couple of days, like absolutely super carry performances. I think in that last game versus G2, FlyQuest also went for the Xin Zhao, but just didn't get, oh no, in the Soraka game rather, sorry. But it didn't really work out the way they wanted. Do you think Inspired has to somehow adjust how he plays or not at all? I'm just thinking about him in the sense of he was the one who was most downtrodden in that series after G2. Is he going to change what he usually does? Because I don't think he has to.
I don't think he will. I mean, I think Inspired is very consistent. He's going to prioritize his goals. He's going to prioritize his farm. And then generally he's really mechanically proficient and he plays team fights well. And I feel like that's kind of him. He kind of does the same thing every game. But he believes that is the best way to play League of Legends and to play it really, really efficiently. And it's enabled by Busio. This is something I talk about a lot in NA, is that Busio is kind of their jungler often in the early minutes, right? Busio is often going to roam. He's going to leave Masu by himself to help Quad push out a lane, to help Whippo be protected on a dive. Not that Inspired never does it, but Inspired is going to prioritize camps, prioritize objectives, and really try to put himself in that way ahead so that he can really kind of pay that back later in team fights.
Yeah, it's true. We don't have an update yet for you. We are still in this tech pause. I think something we didn't talk about yet, and maybe we can now, is that Whippo didn't have a good series versus G2 specifically, right? A lot of situations where he got caught out or made the wrong decision, and I thought that was out of character, because for me, Whippo is a player who sometimes does tremendous in lane, but even if he doesn't, he'll always find something to lift the team up, or a positioning or a moment, and I just felt like maybe his mojo was a little off. So if he resets today, it's going to be super important, and on the Cassante, it's definitely possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to me, I was just surprised that he played Rumble. He's not known as a Rumble player at all. And actually, when they had subbed Gakkos in a couple times during the regular season, it was to play Rumble, right? Because Whippo traditionally doesn't play the champ. He only has 10 games on it his entire career. It is, yeah, and it's just kind of like not his style. He has his own kind of unique Whippo picks, but there's a few meta picks that he's always kind of stayed away from, Rumble being one of them. In the Renekton game, it felt like it was a bit of hubris, like he was proxying a lot, got caught out a lot of times. But yeah, Whippo is an up and down player. He's hot and cold. If he can come out and have a really good game one, like Whippo at his best can challenge the best top laners in the world. Whippo at his worst can lose to the worst top laners in the world. Like, you just have to see what you're getting.
Broken Blade bad?
Hey, come on, guys.
I'm also not saying that the champ is too difficult for Whippo. I just think I think Rumble is really, really difficult.
It's a different play style
to play, right? And specifically when you have these important fights, it is a split-second decision. It's hard to do that ult. I think so. So I'm sure pros don't think it's as difficult, but we've seen a lot of weird lines in professional Rumble games sometimes because it is difficult.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of working alongside the self-declared best Rumble of all time in Huni.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Finn.
No. In Huni, who always has extremely strong opinions on Rumble, for anything ranging changing from builds to equalize. And I think Rumble to me is an interesting champion because it feels like he is kind of like Xin Zhao currently, like Lee Sin was a couple of years ago, at least in the LCK, where you need to be able to play this champion. He has just been a meta staple. He will remain a meta staple because of the innate power of his kit, no matter how many mini reworks we have. What I wanted to talk about for a little bit when it comes to CFO, particularly with the Azir, which I think has been a crazy power pick, is that Hongq to me thus far hasn't been able to live up to the expectations that were set for him by his previous tournaments, both MSI as well as First Stand. And Azir to me is kind of, as a champion, the ultimate test of this, because Azir, the line between having a great play and having a struggle can be thin, and we'll see if he's able to clear that line this time around.
Oh, thanks, Chronicler. And here we are. We're back in, and it is just the game as we saw it before. We just got to have a little bit of a timeout and a little bit of a chat to our lovely analysts.
Yeah, and I think what the issue was is that Kaiwing went a little bit early to the top lane, thus triggering the lane swap detection punishment.
Yep.
And CFO were contesting.
We had the same pause in the LCK. Don't you worry.
Yeah, so
happens to the best of us.
Kaiwing just missed out on a bit of extra, experience and support quests there, but
ultimately it will be okay.
Yeah, I believe we're just resuming. So they just explained the lane swap detection.
Yep. And because it's now a little bit later on this patch, we are going to be paused once more. See whether it's going to be comfortable clarification or whether this is going to be something deeper. We'll make sure we keep you updated as quickly as possible. Should be over the CFO side, assuming that they feel like the issue has not been resolved.
Yeah,
what they expected.
I think all the explaining about the lane swap went down smoothly. So this probably, I would assume, is something else.
It'd have to be something else, right?
Yeah.
Unless they're like, no, but like, look, there's this thing. That's what I expected. It went, as soon as the pause came in again, I'm like, no, they're failing to accept that that's how it worked.
And now we are well past 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So
it might be that it was the fact that you get the debuff and then it lasts afterwards. Maybe they were still a little bit confused as to, but I still wasn't getting experience immediately after. Okay, never mind.
That's not a good sign right there.
It might have been bathroom break tech pause situation. Oh, another one.
So, I mean, sometimes if there's something more meaningful, then they're like, okay, this might take a while. You are allowed to get out of your seats and then go to the bathroom, and like the cause of the pause isn't necessarily the bathroom break.
Yeah, it's more like you now have a window to use the bathroom.
Because we just started, guys.
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking like, when you're nervous, sometimes it can just. And maybe you just forget to use the bathroom, Make sure, maybe a bathroom check, guys. For everyone watching at home, take care of your kidneys.
Yeah, honestly, I think everyone should take this moment.
Yeah.
Except for us, of course.
And if you don't need to go, maybe think about the other side of the spectrum, which is hydration. And perhaps we should all have a drink of water. You know what?
True.
We should all do that. Kobe, pick up your water bottle. It's time to have it. Just drink the water.
Yes, sir, Atlas, sir. I would like some electrolytes with my water, too,
Oh,
please.
really?
Yeah.
Well,
that's how you truly hydrate,
Is that really how it works? I thought electrolytes was just a cool word.
Kadril once told me a story when we were a couple years ago streaming, the lead up to Worlds, which was basically like Worlds Champion Cube.
Yeah.
And so it was like super hype, and everybody's watching and stuff, and we're streaming for long periods of time. And I was streaming and with him on Discord.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, I really have to go to the bathroom. And then he was like, don't go. It actually really increases your focus. It's better if you have to go to the bathroom. And I was like, wait a second. I mean, it does increase your focus because you're thinking about it and you're worried.
But you just focused on needing to pee? What?
It also could cause some long-term problems if you do it too long. That's for sure.
Yeah, so definitely don't do that.
Maybe don't take health advice.
Yeah, no, let's steer clear from that.
But it did increase my focus. I was alert.
Maybe you were too focused on not what you should be focused on, though. You know,
He
You're
recommended
definitely focused.
He recommended that and matcha. He was really big on matchas at the time.
Okay, well, I'm not really all that big on the matchas. This is by the way, guys, just to update you, this is a different issue. This is more of a peripheral-based one. We should be back into the game very soon. Peripheral issues, we love those. They're solvable. You can see the thing, and you can say, "I'll get a different thing," or "We'll fix the thing." Very easy.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about stuff going on inside the computer.
New mouse, new keyboard. We'll figure it out.
Yep, whatever it needs to be. So now we can talk about hydration and stuff like that. And by the way, I do know what electrolytes do, but I have always thought that the word is good. Like, you know, I just liked it. And whenever I like looked at the bottles and they had it all in like really big letters, I'm like, they made that up.
Yeah, like you're gonna get some sort of superpowers.
Yeah, that's what I always thought. Maybe I'll
like it'll turn you into Raiden or something, shooting electrical.
And I would have been playing Mortal Kombat at the time.
Raiden was always my favorite Mortal Kombat character, that's for sure. It's because of the electricity that like snaps on his eyes.
Yeah.
That's Mega Aura.
And he also just looked really unassuming when he was walking around, and then he just zaps you.
Yeah.
That's
the old guy that still beats everyone up.
Yep.
That's what I'm gonna turn into.
It's beautiful.
As we progress towards our Unk status.
Yep. And the Unk status is purely it's epitomized by the fact that we're excited about the remake of the movie, and everybody else is like, that's dumb. Because I know I am. The first Mortal Kombat movie, oh my god.
Quality
just
movie.
Extraordinary.
Quality movie.
Your brother's soul is mine. Oh, it's just so quotable. So many brilliant moments. And we really are deep into this pause. If that's what we've decided that we want to talk about.
Honestly, though, Alice, that's what today is all about.
Yeah?
Which of these teams will deliver a fatality to the other region?
Oh, see, you can always tie it back in, Kobe. That's why I love having you around.
Fatality is, one of the earliest and coolest, calls for a finish of an entire turn.
Do you think it got a little bit too much when they started moving on to like babalities and the weird things? They should have just probably left it as fatality, I think.
But it is huge. I mean, this is a momentous series here for both regions, for both teams individually, but also for both regions because.
I mean, it's massive on either side, and I think FlyQuest wanting to make it back to that former glory, being able to get to the top 8 like they were able to and got so close against Gen G. If they can't even get there, it doesn't feel very good. But this does, because now we can see the video game, and it's all in color and everything like that. We don't need to worry about the sepia mode that we had before, and everything is all good.
So after all these pauses and after all the swap, let's evaluate what went down with the experience. The biggest thing to me,
battle level.
Yeah, the biggest thing to me is top lane. Top lane having a full level advantage for Bwipo is huge. Cassante ultimate definitely very threatening, and Driver suffered more heavily in the CS with the lane swap, with the 2v1s.
Oh, Emperor's Divide does get the flash out of quad here. Nice little attempt from Honky. That means that another visit, and they should be able to get a kill.
Meanwhile, Inspired got to the second Scuttle Crab, getting him to the level 6 breakpoint as well. So they are going to have experience, slight experience lead for the jungle, much larger experience lead for top lane.
Nothing a few pedals can't fix, right, Kobe?
True.
We'll need to get a couple of those, as Honky does avoid the seismic shove, but he does so by hoovering up a whole bunch of rocks, so that doesn't exactly feel fantastic. This does, though, because these Sand Soldiers are really starting to hurt, with the recurve bow and blasting one now completed.
Yeah, I am. Inspired also showed here. So every time you show, then you give a lot of information to your opponents in the early game, because CFO know that Inspired cleared up towards that side, and so by showing mid, they can now guess, all right, presumably for the next like 30 seconds, he's going to be clearing the rest of his red quadrant. Your red buff, your Krugs, and then re-clearing down. It's not the biggest of deals because they do know what your jungle path was from the beginning, but it just makes it certain so they can.
Getting the confirmation is, I think, a big deal.
Yeah, especially when you finally have your level 6 on Vi, and you want to use what we were talking about in Champ Select. The Vi ultimate guarantees you a seismic shove play onto Azir, and so that extra threat is something that they want to kind of keep hidden in the fog of war if possible.
Yeah, I also think that fighting around now is exactly what they want to be doing, right? Level 6s are a big deal for this composition. FlyQuest do want to get themselves off to a good start to make sure that their damage is enough moving later on into the game. As Bwipo This seems to be his new thing. It's just farming behind turrets. Doesn't look like he's going to have too many issues, though, doing it. As you can see, still retaining decent experience advantage. Also tempo advantage now, and we'll be able to move into the fog of war. Could be a little bit dangerous as we do see CFO going for these grubs.
Yep, we're going to get the objective trade for the early game. So CFO, they're going to have the extra pushing power of the grubs for these turret plates. We'll see how much extra money this does result in the early game especially. And if FlyQuest focus on the dragon stacking will pay off. Of course, this FlyQuest squad is looking a lot at these mid-game fights. They want to focus on dragon stacking so that they can put that pressure onto CFO in the mid-game.
And the unfortunate thing is, 2 of the best souls are now removed. So we'll have to see what is going to be the soul moving later on as we do get that second Drake going down. But it's not going to be Infernal or Hextech. They could have just won the game, right? If you get them with this composition, if you can make that snowball work, it doesn't quite matter as much what the composition is if you can keep rolling that one down the hill and grab that soul early. As Busio taking a lot of damage here. Pulverize onto 2 as Masu trying to get that follow-up damage. Doggo does just use the barrier to make sure that he stays as healthy as possible, and it's a good trade for CFO.
Yeah, certainly is. Get that Alistar fairly low, healing back up with the passive. A little bit of sustain there for Busio. And Inspired is trekking his way over here on the Vi. So we'll see after Krugs if he just goes back into another re-clear and heads up down towards the other side of the map. Most probably he'll just go Raptors and Wolves, but there's possible options for them to get a little bit fancy with it. They have, of course, swapped their solo laners as well, so Whipple comes back down here. Since he does have plenty of magic resist with both solo laners being AP threats.
Yeah, feels a bit good, doesn't it, to be the Cassante in this game as far as itemization?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to lane a melee into a mid lane matchup, into one of these mages, having the early phase start out pretty smoothly and getting a bunch of money to just buy a bunch of magic resist, and especially the extra regeneration that you get off of the cowl, is so nice for laning, because even if the Azir is attacking you with soldiers and stuff, you just move on up there, and Cassante has so much survivability with the extra shield and the early itemization. But here we go, we might get a little bit of a scrap as Jinja heads up towards the FlyQuest duo.
Yeah, we do have level 6 finally hit for Kaiwing as he's waiting in this brush. Doesn't look like they really want to find too much though, and especially with the Unbreakable Will there. Busio isn't really a target. Masu's hard to get onto because of the range that he does have. So we've just got a little bit of a snare coming on through. Jinja is going to walk over that captive audience, and out he will go.
It is interesting because the experience leads still hold for all the places that we talked about for FlyQuest. Whipple's still with his. Bottom side, Driver is going to be the target, though.
This could be really dangerous, right? Because he's already behind. It could get even worse. The Equalizer goes down just to clear out the wave. And that looks to be exactly what FlyQuest wanted. Now they're going to slink back towards the river, and Inspired going to see what else he can collect. Looks like it's going to be Scuttler first, and then possibly just Gromp into clearing out as much jungle as he possibly can to continue getting himself in a good position. But so far, everything has been pretty quiet.
Pretty quiet. A little bit of extra efficiency, I would say, on the FlyQuest side.
Yep.
Namely from Inspired with his jungle farm. Jinja, we've seen a couple times where he hesitates around top side, kind of wants to make a play, either calls it off himself or gets interrupted. And so Jinja is slightly behind in the jungle. But that being said, the carries for CFO have their own leads here, both Hongq and Doggo, with some slight extra gold to their names.
Yep. Hongq, of course, very comfortable on this Azir as well. His record is pretty impressive. They do a lot of winning, so it is hard to really gauge exactly what it all means on the international stage, but I think Hongq's proven himself well enough for us to be able to trust it.
Yeah, it is actually crazy how much winning this team does. I mean, Jinja has won 7 regional titles in a row. Everyone that he has played in there in the LCP/PCS. And we'll see if they can continue on the international stage. Again, in the early game, experience is valued a bit more than gold, because the small gold differences don't usually result in a full item breakpoint. And so the extra value of a full level is a
base
lot of...
stats are much more important.
Exactly. That's the guaranteed power that is going to be there. But we haven't seen anyone use it yet, really.
Oh my god, the burst damage out of Doggo. He's got that Trinity Force, and yes, now we definitely know it.
So the item breakpoints definitely do hurt when one of them is a Trinity Force.
Maybe this is one of those lessons, like 80 carries really like items because they can do that with them.
Yeah, especially...
Oh, Soulflare double slow does come on through, but that's not quite enough to go for too much. Oh, I say that. Honkyu's Sand Soldiers, they've been training hard.
This could be problematic for FlyQuest. This is CFO really making a good effort to interrupt the dragon stacking. Inspired is on vision.
Yeah, and Doggo saw him, immediately clicked towards him. As Inspired is going to wrap his way around. Looks like CFO are going to get off this dragon as Teleport is going to bring Bwipo in. Junja actually just going to waste no time, flashes away, but Bwipo might be able to get on top of him. The ulti not going to work out because Bwipo ate the CC, and that is first blood over to Inspired here. FlyQuest on the board. As the turret plates fall, a 14-minute first blood is not exactly the earliest, but the fact that they get a second Drake is huge.
They could teleport Quad to go answer the top wave as well. If they don't want to drop the top wave, send the Taliyah over there.
There's the flash out. Curtain Call comes on in as, Master's just going to be able to pick that one up because Bwipo is not scared of turrets.
And again, it's such a critical timing for FlyQuest because they have to keep Dragon stacking. So because bottom wave was pushed in, they don't teleport Quad to top side. They keep Quad on bottom side to catch that minion wave. And it is going to cost FlyQuest a lot of damage on the top turret due to the Void Grubs as well for Driver. It barely stands. But again, it's so critical for FlyQuest, with this comp to actually keep the Dragon stacking. So I do really like them contesting on it and forcing the play, using Bwipo's teleport there. That plus the CC from the Jhin, and now...
Oh, Quad could be in a little bit of trouble because Kaiwing does have Zenith Blade, does connect, but even through the exhaust, Quad will be okay. Busio comes in and just says, get out of here, with a little bit of a headbutt, so not too much else to worry about. But CFO, they've been so good at being able to actually make things stick in the early game. They haven't been able to at all here so far. Still don't think it's end of the world. I still think their composition is going to feel just fine moving further on. But with all those experience hiccups, things like that, the fact that the gold is now well and truly sitting in FlyQuest's favor and those two dragons, man, like everything is coming up FlyQuest here in this game so far as Quad might be the first sign of it not quite working out. It's despite the flash, Honkyu still able to pick him up. The redemption comes down as well, as we do see picture-in-picture that it should still be this Rift Herald going down. So they will be able to collect that one, and that is also going to be some feats of strength almost gotten towards as well, as Busio could be in trouble. Level 7 here, so he does have the Unbreakable Will, but he is still taking a lot of damage. These Sand Soldiers, man, they are really hurting. Not quite enough to get the kill onto the cow through the ulti.
Really good early flash from Honkyu. Preemptively flashes to gain the...
Two turrets immediately?
Yeah, they take that one down. Topside's going to go to Honkyu as well. But really good early flash from him to create the play. And Quad still flashing and dying is really going to put a bump here in the FlyQuest path. I think CFO, huge gold injection into those solo laners is going to be exactly what they want.
Yeah, and have a look at Honkyu's lead now. 1.3K, 1.4K. That was FlyQuest's lead prior to that play. And it is now just on their superstar mid laner, a young man that has been the talk of so many this whole year, as CFO have been there every single time, no matter what event it has been. Still, this is only going to equalize things, right? Like 300 gold, not something that we're going to be too worried about. And there is still feats of strength on the table. Whoever makes it to that third one is going to be able to collect it here. Let's see whether FlyQuest can just get one more kill to get some better shoes.
Yeah, Honkyu, such a promising young talent here. And he always just plays with so much confidence on the world stage. We'll see about the next Azir play, as there were a lot of people converging on mid.
Yep.
But after the wave gets cleared out...
I can see you were tensed up. You're like, hang on a second.
Both sides, you can see almost immediately, both of them kind of spread back out to go catch their side waves. And those side waves are going to get a little dangerous for FlyQuest. Both outer towers are down, so CFO using their extra advantage there to get the early push.
Yep. Does mean that there's some standing gold here for FlyQuest, but unless they're able to take these turrets down, they're now just helping make sure that CFO has as much control of the map as they can at this stage of the game. Man, this next Dragon fight is going to be such a big deal. 1 minute and 30 seconds on the clock for that one. FlyQuest, Soul Point in their sights. Mountain Soul is a big deal. Like, I mean, I don't know how you kill Bwipo after that one comes through. So, a pretty important one to fight for here. See whether CFO have any plans for it.
I think Honkyu might have some plans, because he's 2 item Azir already. We were talking about, oh, how meaningful is gold versus experience? Well, when gold is 2 items fully completed on your Azir, then gold is massive. So
Honkyu went back and bought a Liandry's, and Quad went back and bought a little book.
Ooh, would you rather have a book or a cool mask?
The cool mask, Kobe, every single time. Although some of the books, you know, are cool as well. There's a lot of them that you can buy.
This is a short story, though.
Yeah,
that's like a little picture book.
Yeah, this is the first. This is like baby's first book. You know, like it's not quite the fiendish codexes. Okay, Driver could be in a little bit of trouble here as Quad throws a whole bunch of rocks into his back. The seismic shove connects, and I think Quad wanted to let us know that the book's pretty good. Actually, it's not too bad.
Yeah, and he rides that one all the way to the pick. CFO though, with 4 people. They're also going to answer with the last remaining outer turret that FlyQuest had standing.
Yeah. And Doggo is, of course, Valkyrieing forward into Busio as the slow comes through. Masu is in so much trouble. He has to get out of there. Does have the curtain call to follow up if there is going to be anything more, but takes the cannon and will now be able to head back home. CFO, though, they are just tearing things off the map over and over again. And now, with the outer ring dead, the map is so dark. FlyQuest can have a real tough time at making their way over here to contest this dragon.
I think that one is gone. That is an Oyster dragon.
What does an Oyster dragon look like? Oh, like a mountain dragon. Oh, sorry, yeah.
Very
you just
similar,
told me what it was.
Very similar to a mountain dragon.
Except you have to know that inside the mountain, there is indeed an oyster.
Exactly. You crack it open.
Yeah.
For some delicious meat.
It sounds kind of sinister. I don't like it anymore. I'm not going to mess with the Oyster Dragon. That's all right. Doggo and Masu back here in this lane. I think Masu knows now that if the Corki goes anywhere near him, it could be problematic, but he hasn't bought in quite some time. It's okay. Driver back in lane, maybe back in trouble again as Bwipo. We're going to try and take him down. There's the all out. See whether Driver can actually survive this one. Deadly Flourish will be avoided. There's the curtain call as Driver desperately trying to get out of here, but I don't think he's going to be able to do so. The last bullet doesn't connect, but Bwipo does have a Q. Manages to take that one down. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, because there were 2 that showed top, CFO have decided that it's time for Otacon, and then they decide it is too dangerous. Not a decision they often make, to be perfectly honest, as Rift Herald is going to be thrown into the mid lane. Shelly a little bit confused about where she is. We'll be able to wander towards... Okay, never mind. She is just going to be herded back down the river once again. Inspired will be able to just...
my favorite part of this...
driving.
My favorite part of this were the blue Flying Oyster question mark pings that were going down on it. They're like, where is he going with this? Regardless, though, the best thing that this FlyQuest comp does is make picks on the map. CFO, though, they're starting back up the Otacon.
Is this just gone? I mean, Honkyu does need to be there if they want to have the DPS, but things are very, very dark on this map right now. Busio is going to rotate his way down. CFO have all the information they need. This is just gone. And you were talking about the great experience crisis of the early game of this series. That might be mitigated as Doggo does get himself over the right side of the wall. Driver desperately wanted to do the same thing, but there's a little bit of brush, and FlyQuest realized that I think their only real option here is to try and push down mid.
You can tell FlyQuest were so confused there. They had no idea where CFO were because Bwipo just teleported to his own secondary tower when he was split pushing on top side and had finished up that top tower. FlyQuest had no idea. They were completely bamboozled by that play from CFO, and then they saw them and they got the Otacon, announcement even. He still panics.
Yeah.
He thought people were coming for him.
I mean, they do have a gold advantage.
Max.
There's at least that. I'm trying to figure it out, Kobe, because feels like CFO just kind of got away with murder.
Yeah, FlyQuest, oh man, they are confused.
Well, Kaiwi might be confused now because Bwipo is just going to come out of the brush, but Driver comes in. We're going to slow him down with a couple of harpoons, and that should be enough. It's all right. We did manage, the feats of strength did go over to FlyQuest. They at least managed to lock that one in. So it's not end of the world or anything like that.
It is concerning, though.
I would say so. I think this was one of the issues when we were watching them just a couple of days ago as well, is like fully understanding where to be to make sure that things could happen. But I mean, FlyQuest did manage to get 2 Barons in their last game, even though they lost, right? Like,
I don't know.
This was a weird moment. This was a very weird moment.
Because they had already started fighting them by the Otacon, seeing multiple members. Technically not all of them.
Maybe it's just like the assumed reset.
They also, yeah. All right, well, good plays from Flying Oysters, though. You know,
definitely worked.
In the last few minutes, they stopped the Dragon stacking, got the Mountain one first, then they got the Otacon, and they were able to get a teleport off of the Cassante here.
Maybe it was like there was like a vision bamboozlement that we missed, and there's a really clever vision bamboozlement that happened as the wall is going to come on down here. Kaiwing just flashes over the top, and it's going to be able to keep him safe, but that is a big investment as far as Summoner Spell. It is going to be employed, so CFO without that to engage some fights could be a big deal, as under a minute until this next Dragon.
Next Dragon. Let's see if they get back on track here, because CFO have got to be so happy with this game state. Already having the Otacon with 22 petals, plus having the first of the Mountain Dragons, you know, taking that one away. It just gives them so many luxuries here. And Honky was already doing well in this game. The Azir is just so comfortable split pushing, has an arm guard. We already mentioned the 2-item power spike, but this champion with flash up is so mobile. At CFO, have a lot of options here. And Honky is even going to see the approach.
Well, Sundisk is going to come on up here, and that is going to mean that Inspired will take a little damage, but not too much more. It does have the upgrade of Merc Treads, as CFO are looking to move up and protect their mid laner. FlyQuest moving over as well. Teleport to bring Honky down, as they just want to take this inside track, move over towards this Dragon. And they should be able to get this early setup. Masu already 50% of his health bar taken away, as Doggo's rockets are really starting to hurt Quad. Wrapping around the side, doesn't have the Weaver's Wall up just yet. There's now Driver on that flank angle, checking for Inspired, who should be able to get himself in here. We'll see whether they want the turn or whether they want to get themselves the Dragon. FlyQuest moved their way in, though. Inspired biding his time to make sure he gets in at the opportune moment. Solar Flare goes entirely wide as Inspired gets his way in there. Junja having to flash his way out, though. Seismic Shove gone wide. Equalizer is down. Not doing too much, though, as we can see. As the Drake already low as well. The exhaust comes on down. Whippo gets into that backline. Kaiwing's in a little bit of trouble. And down goes the Xin Zhao. That's going to be the Drake going over. FlyQuest pick up the soul point, but have they found the fight? Driver still wanting to try and burn them. As Honkyu gets on in there. There is Whippo looking for the angle. Emperor's Divide, though, will be his shutdown. And it's Doggo that picks up the kill. Look at these health bars. Doggo desperately wanting another Valkyrie, but he will not be able to get in there. And FlyQuest gets soul point, and they get relatively out of there. Yeah,
they do. Whippo turns around to go after the Azirs to try and put a stop to that chase, and is the sacrifice. It ends up being 1-for-1 on kills. Critically, as you say, though, Inspired able to secure the Dragon. Let's look at the setup here. Junja does get focused. The Leona ult going wide there is actually quite big. That being down, Kaiwing also misses his E. Thankfully for him, he doesn't get shoved in by the Taliyah Seismic Shove, but you know, they back off from the Equalizer, reset with the Redemptions. Inspired and Whippo inside the pit here is actually quite close, because Junja there, they focus him down, get the kill, and then Inspired can smite afterwards. So they cleanly are able to focus down the enemy jungler and then get the objective. Here's where it gets very risky.
Yeah, look at all these health bars. They're nothing.
As Honky dashes in, though, Whippo goes in, he dies.
Well, you can see Whippo not feeling too happy about it, but I think it was a worthy sacrifice for what they were able to pick up. 3.5 minutes until a potential Mountain Soul, which will be a huge deal. Not to mention getting the Elder onto the map, which certainly does help closing out the games.
Certainly does. I think there's a lot of pressure in the next 3 minutes.
Well, Solarflare going to slow down Inspired. Doggo is, of course, Valkyrieing over a wall, as he will be able to blast go in his way to safety. Doggo only has one mode, doesn't he? He's just
I love
going
it.
in.
It's attack mode.
Yeah.
It is so fun to watch.
Every champion can be Draven, as it turns out.
Especially when he has double summoners. He plays so aggressively with them. CFO, though, once again, they start up the Baron. They're trying to force FlyQuest into this early.
My God, Honky is doing so much damage to this objective. FlyQuest's going to have to make a decision. Teleport is going to come through from Whippo as they get a nice knock up onto Kaiwing. He's thrown back with a shove. Equalizer goes down, though, and Quad is just dead. An overextension, as we can see, is now Junja goes in. Busio, the next one to fall, paying for his mid laner's sins, as Doggo is, of course, flashing forward. It's Whippo to go down one more time as he tries to all out his way to safety, but that is not going to stop CFO from taking this Baron and getting a big lead. Never mind, though, it's Kaiwing that's going to go down first. Inspired collects that, but Emperor's Divide pulls him back, and they'll trade jungle for support after the end of that fight, and CFO should be able to get the Purple Worm as a reward.
Huge for CFO. They turn around on Quad and immediately punish him for taking that wall so close to their team. Quad goes in, he jumps up right into Kaiwing here, gets stunned up, and immediately deleted. So CFO are very, very, very happy with the start of this fight, and then they just run down FlyQuest, chasing every last member here. Huge critical moment at the Baron, and CFO destroy FlyQuest.
You can see CFO pretty happy about it as well as far as the coaching staff are concerned. That is going to finally even out the kill score here in this game, but the Baron is the biggest deal. And keep your eye on that Rebel Baron power play. Currently at the neutral setting, which is 1500. The more they can get is going to be the use of the buff. As Doggo back in this mid lane once again. I feel like whenever he's on screen, I tense up. You know, there was no one else on the screen, but I was like, is he going to solo kill that nothing over there?
He just might. That dog definitely has bite. So does Honkyu as well, by the way. The bird also has bite, and Honkyu still has his flash. He didn't have to use his flash in the last massacre that we just witnessed. And so it's a level 17 Azir with a big lead. Junja, though?
Yeah, Junja is in a little bit of trouble, able to flash out of the way of the seismic shove, and there's not a whole lot of damage available to take him out when his ultimate's running. As now Busio likely to just die. Driver will be slowed down, but it's Quad that's dead again! Oh, it's a disaster for FlyQuest. It's into the backline, goes Inspired, but I just don't know whether that was a great idea, as Doggo is going to be able to take him down while he's trying to ult him into the sky. And CFO, this could be them just marching up the mid lane and taking out the first inhibitor of the game.
Yeah, I think they might destroy quite a bit of the FlyQuest base here with the Baron buff still on for a long time here. They get to continue pushing an inhibitor down. You also see Junja pushing in on the bottom side wave, but he's going to run right past it and look for the end.
Well, we'll see whether they can do it right here, right now. There are 2 siege minions making it so difficult. The curtains have been called. I don't know whether they're for CFO. They will be able to stay alive. So FlyQuest, they do survive the push here, but CFO have broken open the base. They take an inhibitor turret on the bottom side as well. Honkyu deals with that one, and now on their way out, they'll be able to collect another Mountain Drake, meaning that that soul is ever further away once again. And I would say 6K is a pretty good Rebel Baron power play. We were talking about keeping your eye on that one. Yeah, that's good number.
Yeah, CFO here just looking dominant now in game number 1. Let's take a look at this as they try and pick off Junja for FlyQuest side. And it's a good equalizer from Driver. Quad then, you can see on the Talia, gets nailed. Kaiwing, ulti him, immediate follow-up, and they just delete that Talia once again. Nice ult there from Kaiwing to snipe him. Inspired then goes in at the end. They know they're just kind of throwing their bodies at CFO at that point, because having given over to this team comp, the Otacon as well as the Baron in that last fight, and all this gold adding up, CFO have a chokehold on this first game.
Well, now Inspired, it's going to have to be these Hail Mary plays. And I actually like this. We've seen this from a lot of players in the past. Inspired himself has done it before. When you're feeling down and out, just find a spot to stand as Vi so you can kill the guy that does the damage.
This is the
Yoshi play.
This is solo queue. You go and get an enemy camp.
Well, this is going to be an enemy team that CFO are looking for. Busio does have the unbreakable will, and he's going to need one if they want to stay alive in this game. And oh, not just a camp, that's a crab.
I mean, Alice, People call it different things. To me, when I do that, it's a bit of rage.
Yeah.
I'm rage clearing enemy camps at that point.
Oh, rage clearing is the rage counter jungle clear.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I think just rage clearing. I'm going to use that. I'm definitely going to use that. As Doggo Valks over the wall, will be able to keep himself alive. But now the wraparound has happened. It's not only a rage clear, it might also be Driver going down, but he does spot him here. Inspired, not quite with the surprise play that he wanted, but it's the all-out to bring them underneath the turret. Junja is going to be the first one to go down, as Doggo is, of course, over the wall. Honkyu goes golden, as the solar flare is going to interrupt that curtain call. As, my God, how did Doggo do that much damage? That was disgusting, but still, he is now dead. I think Fly is still alive.
Atlas, rage clearing is a viable strategy.
This was the best. It's a stroke of genius.
It turned into the flank of all time for FlyQuest, what they needed to defend the base.
It set them off. And then they just went. They flew underneath the inhibitor turret. Inspired didn't even really have to do anything. It was mind control. It was extraordinary.
Mind control is the best strategy. Here we go, though. You can see on the minimap, Inspired approaching, and Bwipo is able to get the kidnap basically under tower.
Yeah.
And they basically create chaos. When you are down like that, you want to create some more chaos. And so they're going to continue to do it.
Yeah, Driver could be in a whole lot of trouble. The wall comes down. I don't think this Rumble is going to survive, and he doesn't think so either, as he ults the wave to make sure that he can at least get something. But these little picks, all of these dents in the tempo, are getting Fly back into the game.
Exactly. That's what you have to do. Continue to try and make picks across the map. Go through the fog of war.
Do we have to have the freak conversation about you shouldn't take the mid inhibitor because you deny yourself gold and stuff? Do we need to do that?
And
it's been a while.
Well, their wave clear is not the best. We'll see about the teleport out. I say just keep on fighting.
Well, that's exactly what they're going to do, as Junja, once again potentially in trouble, does now have Honkyu and Kaiwing in the area. As the knockback from Bwipo, there is another kidnap, like you said before, but it's going to be flashed this time. Blast Cone makes things problematic. Oh, the rocks go down. Honkyu, so much trouble, but still the damage is there because Doggo shows up. Massive amounts to come on through, but it's already 2 for FlyQuest. Doggo trying to survive against Bwipo. He flashes over the wall and picks up a double, but Fly still able to win the fight, and it should be the Baron.
Baron is alive. It is. Okay, Doggo's still alive, though. You have to respect Doggo.
Driver is turning up as well, but I mean, Doggo's health bar is not exactly high. As Masu gets himself in there, it's looking like they're not going to go for this Baron, but FlyQuest, I mean, I was writing the obituary, man. Like, this is not what I was expecting this game to look like.
You have to keep the chaos going. They want to keep the chaos rolling here, forcing and forcing. They're definitely going to turn off the Baron, but CFO are doing a good job. They're not taking the bait here very quickly. They know it takes FlyQuest way too long to do the Baron, so they're not running into it.
Yeah, Weaver's Wall goes down. I mean, they left a control ward there, but the Equalizer is still going to do so much work as the Baron, they're still on it. The spikes are really hurting. Inspired, still lower and lower, and Doggo wanting that wraparound. Driver gets in there with the flamethrower, and there's Doggo! It is going to be the Baron secured by FlyQuest, but can they keep anyone else alive? The Emperor's Divide comes in, it's a double in the end for Doggo, and so there are a few Barons left up here for FlyQuest, but there's no people.
Yeah, there's only an Alistar and a Cassante to defend the base. CFO are going to come, and they're going to try and finish.
All right, let's see whether they can make that one happen as Honkyu shifts some sands to get himself towards Bwipo, whose health bar is extraordinarily large. Driver looking for the flanking Busio, and Junja's going to catch him because he's walking up mid lane to get back to his team. He's holding the wave. It's the Marn strategy yet again, but I just don't know whether it's really going to work. As CFO, they're going to move back. They're going to get themselves their own soul point, but it did save the game, Kobe. It did say, never mind. Maybe it's just, oh my, this game, it's just ridiculous.
It certainly bought them some time,
It bought them some time. They might have been coming back to do the Dragon anyway. However, it did look a little bit, I got flashbacks, you know, to that Maokai standing stalwart to stop the end of the game.
Yeah, it does buy them some time. Triple Mountain Dragons now picked up for CFO, but FlyQuest live a bit longer here. Again, gotta clear out some of this vision and continue to try and make some picks. They have so much CC to try and do it.
We're not able to stop the back here as Inspired. Wanted to try and catch Driver once again, but not going to happen this time around. And yeah, this game is quite crazy.
Yeah.
Is that a Flame Horizon for Bwipo?
Yeah, that's valid. Over 100 CS
I
lead.
questioned whether I was looking at the right number. I was like, surely not. That's a rumble.
The second question is, does that Flame Horizon matter?
Probably.
Or does Doggo being full build Corki? That certainly is a full extra item.
He does have 9 times the amount of kills to his opponent.
All right, well, FlyQuest, they have to continue to be scrappy here. They're trying. They're trying to play in the darkness here, but the flying Oysters are flying safe now, staying on their side of the map where they have vision.
And the problem is I feel now, if you were FlyQuest, you're like, well, this is definitely doable because the game was basically over. And so it feels like the tempo has kind of moved back into Fly's favor because they're like, well, the enemy team just won. We've got nothing to lose in this game. Like, it was a done deal. And so now every opportunity they get back in this one is kind of like a freebie. And let's see whether CFO can keep themselves in it because they have almost thrown it away.
Biggest problem to me for FlyQuest now is when you try and make a pick, there are 2 Zhonyas on both solo laners for CFO, and then the Guardian Angel on Doggo is already available, and Jinja's is close to being available.
Yeah,
So
the
you have to
6 items on the Azir is problematic for the... Yeah,
for everybody.
Yeah, everybody. Like, Doggo wants to get a pentakill, he can't because his mid laner does way too much damage. I mean, it's not just FlyQuest that have issue with it. So let's see. They are just clearing out this mid lane wave. Thankfully, it is mid lane, so it's the easiest one to cover. But we have synchronized timers between these 2 objectives, Kobe. So quad stack Mountain Soul or a Baron might be the choice they'll have to make.
Let's track Inspired again, because Inspired is taking another long, long venture into the other side of the map.
I feel like he's feeling better though now, so I don't think we can call it the same thing.
I mean, it worked last time. He went for Raptors and then topside Scuttle, and then they saved the game. So now he takes Krugs.
Surely he could grab some Raptors as well.
I mean, it is golden experience that they wouldn't have been able to get before.
Yeah.
This time, they had confidence in CFO not pushing for the end. So he is able to steal that one away. He's kind of deep.
Actually cancels it here as the control ward is going to be taken down. Jinja, no idea that there is a Vi lying in wait, but Kaiwing might get word of it. Will the back actually go through? It will. Nicely done. And emotes on his way out. That's clean. This game's weird, Kobe.
Honestly, I'm having fun.
I love it. Weird is good.
All of the pressure, it kind of distracts you from the fact that this is the last day of Swiss, and this is elimination promotion.
And you can tell like there's so much more layered on top, right? There's so many reps of playing out these late game like set plays, right? But then there's also the terror of having to go home here and missing out on that top 8. And for both of these teams, that is a huge deal. CFO, an incredible year for this team, and FlyQuest wanting to make it back to that knockout stage once again. See whether they can get further. CFO looking to try and get a little bit of siege happening. It's not a massive amount of range for this squad, and so not quite working just yet. Solar Flare once again, just going to be a pretty circle and not much more. And Junja gonna get knocked up. Oh my god, look at this. As soon as Honkyu does anything, someone almost dies. So they have to be so incredibly careful as the inhibitor going to be coming back up very, very shortly. As Driver, possible flank angle here, but there is a teleport back to bring Kaiwing towards the mid lane. There it is. Thank you, picture in picture. I feel like this game has almost 100% equalized.
We'll ask Driver about that one in the next fight.
I felt it coming, and I'm glad
I
you
know.
did it.
I didn't even want to do it.
I know, it felt like you had to.
I did, exactly.
Now you know how I feel every day with every dumb joke that I make.
Biggest difference, though, of course, extra full item on both CFO carries. So they have so much power here, but FlyQuest...
Whippo going in, there's the wall as well. Quad, though, keeping himself relatively safe this time as Honkyu goes golden. Seismic shove is going to be avoided with the flash, but Whippo picks him up, but he's not going to be able to withstand the Emperor's Divide. Into the backline goes Inspired. Busio's there! They need to kill Honkyu, and down he goes! Quad's getting flashed on, though, by Driver, who's looking to burn down Mazu. Doggo's still alive as well, and the rest of CFO have dealt with the other onslaught on the other side of the fight. Down goes Inspired as Junja, with full health, is going to be able to make his way out. Now they're pinging on the mid lane, but I think a Mountain Soul might be coming in first.
That's the Soul for sure. Quad and Masu were at the very least able to take down Driver. So that is both solo laners that have been killed on the side of CFO. Now though, there's a ward behind Baron that saw FlyQuest go over to this. So this desperate play from Quad and Masu, it is known to CFO, and they're not going to let him get away with it.
Yeah, Doggo will be able to spot them out here. There is the Mountain Soul to come on in as Doggo walks on forward. Sees Quad at extraordinarily low health. They're going to see whether they can get themselves out. It is just one auto, and Quad will die. Gives him the thumbs up, but isn't able to kill him. And the Blast Cone for the disengage. But still, CFO, they don't lose the Baron, and they should be able to take it themselves here. And with a quad stack Mountain Drake, Mountain Soul, and a sweet purple buff, and an open door on the base, they should be able to finish this game. But I've said that before. This time feels a little bit more true.
Well, well, well.
3 holes in the ground.
Now we'll approach the FlyQuest base one more time for CFO. As you said, they have everything in their arsenal just ready to finish this game.
Do I think that they are going to? No idea. Still no idea.
FlyQuest, they really need the magic now. Can they come up with something spectacular?
Oh, Inspired was going for it again, but this time was spotted by CFO. Kaiwing and Junja together, ready to try and collect him. I think he's out, so it should be all right.
I will say there is now no Guardian Angel on Doggo, as well as no Flash. But I think that CFO, as long as they just play safe with their battle lines, and they don't have both carries right next to each other, then they should be okay to just slowly move it in.
And now we've just broached 10 seconds over the longest game at Worlds, which we did just have yesterday.
Great job all around, everybody.
51. The games are getting longer, as we're seeing, as these inhibitors may not have much longer, but we'll see. This bottom one's certainly going to go down as Whippo looking like he's defending this. Wind becomes lightning, comes through. Man, that health bar on the Cassante is so massive. But these inhibs are still going to go down. The flank angle there from Inspired. He still wants to look for it as they're under Nexus turrets now. Driver wanted to see what's going on. I believe spotted him just there. The first Nexus turret going to be lying on the floor. They need to pull the trigger if they want to stop CFO from taking this. But you can see they're playing so carefully as CFO not wanting to take any undue risks. As Seismic Shove will be Sonya's. And there is the Emperor's Divide as well. Honkyu keeps himself alive. They're still desperately trying to get on top of him, but it does not work. The young player is able to say no to FlyQuest and will now be able to take down the Nexus. It took a little longer than we may have expected, but the Oysters strike first.
CFO finished the job in game number 1. FlyQuest scrambled and made them work for it.
There's 3 threats that are legitimately terrifying on this squad, and then a lot of CC to back it up. And here we are, onto the Rift for game number 2. Fly desperately trying to stay alive here at Worlds 2025. CFO looking to knock them out right here, right now.
And the lane that might determine it could very well be that mid lane. 18-year-old Honkyu, massive year for him, so much hype behind him, and you can see the progression from him over every international event that CFO have been to this year. Meanwhile, Quad really had some really bad plays, honestly. I'm just gonna, in the previous game.
I was waiting for you to sugarcoat it. And
yeah, I was thinking about it, and it was just bad. But we'll see if they can clean it up here. Doggo is deep. Doggo's behind enemy lines.
The axes are spinning as the Blooming Burst comes on down. This is a flash, definitely. Does have a blast cone there as the rest of CFO. I mean, if you knew that they were looking to get as much information as possible, maybe you weren't expecting all of CFO to just be hanging out here in the jungle. But now, Boostio's coming back to lane with one potion. Does have, of course, the ebb and flow, so he is going to be able to heal himself back up again, but that's going to eat through a lot of his mana at this stage of the game.
And it's just what you want to do when you have a Draven lane for bottom side. You want to split jungle pressure. That's the huge reward here. They're trying to go for invade and splitting jungle, all for Doggo and Kaiwing here. You want to isolate this lane. especially with the early damage that you were talking about, burning through both of Busio's potions and summoner spells already. This is just set up so tremendously well for CFO and their bottom side of the map to snowball here. Inspired on the Qiyana, is he just going to accept the split map here and just say, Masu and Busio, you just have to defend for yourselves?
And right now, they do have a lot of vision around this area, so no dive is going to come in. But as you say, it's not about the dive. It's about just making sure that this 2v2 will always exist without CFO needing to worry about any sort of Qiyana making her way down.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to remain the case here as Doggo and Kaiwing continuing to lay down the pressure. Inspired now on those Raptors and is at a decent clip as far as clearing out the jungle.
Yeah, and you kind of just have to accept it because it is a Trundle. So Trundle is king in the early stages. Both those junglers, though, have really dominated their regional leagues. As you can see, Junja, we talked about him, 7 in a row.
And Inspired, I mean, he's been talked about as the Western GOAT for a really long time, and I think he's had a decent Worlds as well. I don't think it's necessarily going to be on him, right? But certainly, they need to come together, and we'll see whether they can utilize some of the aggression from Inspired to make things happen. Because Qiyana, if she's going to work, she needs to do stuff. You know, you need to get that ball rolling. As Ardent Blaze, with a little bit of a double tap there, is going to soften up Doggo momentarily. But Junja still here towards the bottom side after taking down that crab.
And it's always interesting, too, with split maps. Okay, Honky's going to roam over really early.
Oh, dear.
Inspired's here. They know that this is a possibility. They're going to try and counter.
You can see they can actually see the rise as well as the bubble is going to go wide. CFO, I don't think this is a dive angle, as they did want to utilize some of the cannon tech, but it's not quite going to work out. Inspired, good defensive play to make sure that his bottom lane stays alive. But as you can see, as far as the CS numbers, it's almost 2 waves that Doggo has in advantage. As now you can see Rest actually going very aggressive onto Bwipo. The Soul Furnace is going to be there, but not for too much more than just keeping himself alive.
Yeah, Rek'Sai sustain, really, really advantageous up there in the isolated lane.
Ooh, Tangle Barb's going to miss. Probably keeping Masu alive there, as we can see. Doggo not off to as good a start as he got last time around. His quad taking a lot of damage here from Honky. Landing that last Q was actually a big deal, as level 6 is ticked over here for quad. And CFO, I feel, just riding the tempo of their victory in the last game.
They're going to try and spill their advantage over to top lane and go for a dive possibility here. Honky helping with the invade. Junja at least going to steal away Gromp. Just get guaranteed value there.
Yeah, Pillar goes down. Inspired trying to dance his way out of here. Going to pick up some terrain, but reset on the Gromp. This might be a little bit over-enthusiastic here by Junja.
Yeah, I mean, for Smite fights, Rock Q for Qiyana is very good.
Dear. Here's the dive, 2v2, the flash forward from Doggo, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Masu, he flashes away. There's a stand aside, and there's also a kill in the mid lane. What the heck is going on? It's another one as Rest gets the feats of warfare, and CFO just won everywhere on the map.
Yeah, it's a 1,500 gold lead for CFO. Once again, then Nico can always just turn into a cannon minion and tank tower shots for days.
It was actually days. It was ridiculous the amount of time that he ate.
Regardless, yeah, you have to knock him out of the cannon form. You got to get like a bubble or something on him if you want to put a stop to those dives. And so Doggo does get the kill early on Damasu before it goes down. So he got the kill before losing stacks. So he was able to cash in on those. Draven getting paid extra, leading to extra gold lead here. But then also in mid lane,
just flash forward from Honky when he just killed him.
Great punishment, and he truly has been outperforming in the mid lane. Continued on, so we get another look at this. So 1 tower shot with the heal, and good dodge of the bubble, by the way, from Kaiwing. I actually stopped counting because
6 turret shots, I'm pretty sure.
Busio, though, he does finish the job, so he gets the kill afterwards, but critically, the Draven already cashed in. You don't have a tremendous amount of stacks super early on, but you have some, and so is really nice there for Doggo. 700, over 700, the gold lead for him.
That is a big deal. We'll be able to potentially see where the Adoration stacks came up as far as the amount of money, but that is Feats of Warfare also over to CFO. We haven't seen a dragon taken just yet, but you can see junglers are towards the bottom side of the map. It might be somewhere that we're looking. 50 seconds until the grubs are up as well, but Fly well and truly on the back foot in this game. They are going to be swapping Masu towards that top side. The train, the port of call going to be this bottom lane outer turret.
So CFO winning every single lane in this game and affords them the luxury of controlling the early game map as well. So constantly having priority there to move in and make the extra move on FlyQuest. We'll see how this continues towards grubs. We're approaching the 8-minute marks here. So this is kind of the break point of, do FlyQuest actually get to change something since they have a Scion, but no ultimate. As you called out, the ulti was used to get back to bottom lane. So Bwipo's actually just using his time to walk up as FlyQuest start this out.
There's no teleport either for Rest, so he's in that bottom lane as well. With the fact that the Scion is here, FlyQuest should be able to guarantee these grubs, and that will be exactly what happens.
So they're going to sacrifice bottom side turret plate money to the wreck side then, and Junja wants to come in and use his smite.
Well, they're looking for an angle. Supreme Display of Talent does come down as Junja keeping himself alive there with the ulti. The rest of CFO move over, and that is going to be all three of the grubs in the hands of FlyQuest. Nicely done, standing their ground, making sure that CFO don't get anything that they're not allowed to have. As you say, though, Rest is able to answer with that cross map in the bottom lane.
Yeah, that was 2 turret plates that the Rek'Sai is able to earn, as well as minions that were denied as the tower killed them off with nobody around. So FlyQuest investing decently heavy into getting these Void Grubs.
Well, Doggo still trying to fight here as the Blooming Burst comes on down. Tangle Barbs is decent on Debussio, but Masu throws down the culling. That is going to allow FlyQuest to stay at least within touching distance of the amount of health that CFO does have.
They could do a roam from mid. Honkyu has Realm Warp. If they Realm Warp over, that could be 4 people diving FlyQuest, and they're going to do it.
Yep, the Realm Warp is going to come in. Junja looks to turn up Honkyu. That's so much damage already. Why is this Ryze doing so much work? As Masu in so much trouble, the Pop Blossom is going to connect on Debussio. Another cash in, and it's a double for Doggo. 5-1 the kill score, and with 3 of those kills on this Draven, it's looking real good here in game 2 for CFO.
Very successful play. They're able to make it before Busio can soak level 6. Busio on the Nami, still no ultimate, so he didn't have that to create the extra time for the teleport from Quad to come in. Quad's teleport gets nothing. Inspired trying to finish off the Dragon in time, but...
Yeah, it's a 2v2 here. Dragon and Rest against Inspired and Bwipo, and it's the flash out from Inspired to get him to safety. Rest just feeling like he can do anything that he wants here in this bottom lane on this Rek'Sai. Tunneling around. I really like this skin, by the way. Full party Rek'Sai, absolutely fantastic.
Same. That is the
That's
best
the go-to,
one.
right?
That is the best one. Regardless, CFO are very rich.
Yes.
CFO, investing a lot in money, whereas FlyQuest are scraping together some of these early game objectives that don't give you much power outright. So CFO are really well positioned to just steamroll over the rest of this game with keeping up the pressure on every single lane, and they do just that. They're going to push in towards this tower. More turret plate money.
Oh, no.
Stop the recall for extra tempo advantage. It is just so well done here for CFO in the early stages.
And that should be this outer turret falling down here on CFO's side. Unless Quad is going to be enough to deter them, it's a large wave coming on in. Quad might be able to deal with this, but Doggo gets another 2 axes. I mean, he's got a Bloodthirster already at 11 minutes into this game. So just going to wait. Quad is going to be allowed to live for the moment. And I think on this wave, this turret is going to be dead, and I don't think you'd want to push your luck, and that's exactly what he considers as well. So that should be that first turret falling. The last plate picked up as well here by Doggo. And it's already a 2,000 gold lead. Make that about 2.2. Just for the Draven alone.
All right. They're just getting turret plates all over the map at the moment.
They think it's a garage sale or something like that. All right, there's another one here, but maybe they can kill Bwipo at the same time. He gets knocked up. Junja turns up as well. And now, Killer is going to be put down, and the ulti comes on through for Rest. Tries to get himself out of the way. Junja was tanking the turret. Blippo is pretty tanky. So they're not going to be able to kill him. Great Bubble is going to catch the Rek'Sai as he tries to flee. And this time, Busio has the wave and takes down the Rek'Sai. FlyQuest answering back.
Putting a stop to this snowball that CFO had been creating. They do get the extra money countering the dive here after it is unsuccessful onto Blippo. Also allowed them to push out on the rest of the map, so they gain a little bit of breathing room.
Yep.
From the onslaught that CFO had been delivering. That takes care of the Rise teleport, but it is still a extra teleport back and available for Rest as well, so they catch the mid wave as well as the bottom wave.
The one good thing is that it's Master that's able to benefit, right? And so that gold lead that we were just talking about has shrunk about 500 gold. It's probably going to expand again.
Still
though.
big, yeah.
We're still at the Garrosh sale, as it turns out. There's just team fights and stuff like that, and Summoner's Rift at the Garrosh sale. And Doggo wants to collect some more plates. He's got a very busy dinner party coming up.
Yeah, I mean, we're also seeing one of the reasons why, if you're a team like CFO that had all 3 winning lanes, you are fine when FlyQuest basically sell out, sending everybody to get Void Grubs, because they're not going to get much money out of those Void Grubs attacking turret plates, because they're almost never up at the turret plates. CFO are the ones with no Void Grubs, and they've taken complete towers in addition to turret plates on all of the other towers as well. So,
and the turret plates still have 30 seconds, right? So it's just mid lane that is really still with a whole bunch of them there. Doggo is, of course, now parked in said mid lane. Looks like the defense is going to come on through. Stand aside comes down. The wave avoided. Doggo able to press W. He flashes the Flash Wolves sign as well, as it could be on the 10th year since it was the LMS at the time, but an LCP team has made it to the top 8. It could be CFO making it back. It would be such a huge thing, because in that year, it was AHQ and Flash Wolves. They were both there, as the culling is going to come on through here. Now with no turret plates, this turret is under a lot more threat, and especially with a big old Draven there, they will be able to take that one down. Second turret here for CFO as they keep this snowball a-rolling. Whippo, a little trouble. You can see Rest looking worse for wear as well. And the defense going to continue as Whippo is just clearing out all of these holes that this Rek'Sai is digging.
Yeah. Well, he's also digging the graves of FlyQuest, it feels like, with this massive lead. And I do love that Doggo is showing, you know, the history here of this region, and it's being so proud of Flash Wolves. Wait a second.
Yeah, the flash in from Inspired still gets the stun onto Honkyu, but the phase rush as he gets out of the way. Supreme display of talent is what he was looking for, but he fails to dodge it. And the shutdown money goes to Inspired.
FlyQuest scraping together some mid-game kills. This does not close the gap, but it does get them some money to work with.
And the door was opening, and now at least they've moved it into the direction of starting to close. As Rift Herald immediately going to get started up as well, trying to snowball the play into something else. Without Honkyu, it's going to be difficult for CFO to fight, but of course they are going to fight, because they have a very large Draven and the will to do so. Should be this Rift Herald going down, and that is the eye collected by Inspired. So there we go, the pendulum swings once again, now back towards FlyQuest. CFO, I feel like they are just, they know what this comp wants to do, right? They are playing with so much gusto. Everything needs to be, we're moving into the enemy jungle, we're ready to dive, we're ready to try and get kills. Understanding the longevity of the comp isn't necessarily what they're thinking about, as that is going to be Junja, able to even out these dragons. This is, you're in a turret, that is so much money. Over to CFO, it's a Cloud Soul this game as well, we love to see that. FlyQuest unable to defend, I'll just leave Whippo to deal with the rest of these minions.
Yep, CFO keeping up the pressure. Nice rotation from them, seeping into the bottom side. Again, the Rek'Sai answer this time around. Constant harassment, constant pressure on the Scion. We'll see about FlyQuest's response for the other side, though.
And Kobe, are you sick of seeing stats that come up and we're like, oh, this player has great stats? I'm kind of sick of that.
You want some bad ones?
Like, because we get Junja is like 19 and 5 on Trundle. Man, he's so good at Trundle. How about this one? Doggo's Draven, 4 and 10. over his career.
Nice.
Guess what one of those 4 wins was recently? And he looked pretty good
Yep.
on that one against a team that I think are pretty good as well, if I remember correctly from my job.
Yeah.
Korea.
He did get that win over T1 with the Draven, and it was in spectacular fashion.
It was.
Solo killing multiple people in that game. We'll see this time around. It wasn't a solo kill, or they haven't been solo kills for him so far. They were, assisted,
Yep.
but it was constant pressure from the opening of the game, and that has been true for CFO as we see them take another tower here. Again, pushing with all lanes. They are not relenting.
Yeah, it's the power identification from this team that is pretty impressive. This, not so much, as a supreme display of talent and just a cheeky Q from Inspired, and he will be able to just kill Honkyu. That was a choice.
Another quick kill for
Very nicely done.
FlyQuest. While CFO have kept up the pace and have cashed in, taking all of these towers. 4 towers for CFO, 0 for FlyQuest. FlyQuest are, well, now Bwipo is in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, Kaiwing is going to be able to find him here, but it's a fight on multiple fronts. Pop Blossom invested, and the Flash and ulti will be in exchange as Bwipo is able to make his way to safety. The fight didn't eventuate anywhere else around the Raptors, and so we are going to have a bit of a stalemate. But still about 4,000 gold to lead for CFO, but they need to keep their foot on the gas.
Yeah, I mean, this 2-item Kiana. Inspired does a lot of burst damage. He has no more ultimate now.
I've seen this movie before, the one that's happening in the top lane, so we are going, no, we are back here, and he's dead again. It's the same movie. It's on repeat.
Profane Hydra, baby. 2-item power spike for Kiana. That plus the Umbral Glaive. I mean, these are some cheap items. Profane Hydra was reduced in cost, so even though, FlyQuests have been behind, Inspired individually has the sole gold lead for the team. Level 12 on the Kiana as well. And if you make these quick bursty plays, is exactly how you want to try and abuse this champion. Of course, they also have the Rift Herald to work with. So next time when they make one of these quick bursty plays, they could cash in on their first turret of the game.
Yeah.
And start to make more and more headway towards closing this gold lead. They have taken little chunks out of it.
Yeah, every little by little. And it could also be another opportunity to pick themselves up another dragon, right? It's currently even, so it's not like a race to get themselves a soul or anything like that, but having a dragon advantage is always so incredibly valuable. You can see CFO, though, all grouping towards his top side, looking to steal away this blue buff for now. Honky's decided that he just wants some bodyguards, and I do not blame him based on what has happened over the last 6 or so minutes of this game. I think his Azir was absolutely phenomenal in the last game, but this Ryze has been targeted. See how he manages to cope with this, as once again, they're just running towards him. Does get stunned up as the tidal wave comes in as well. There's a great knock-up, flash out of the way from the bubble. That is still Honkyu once again under a whole lot of threat as Masu with the cleanse. As Kaiwing needs to get himself out of that situation. I don't think this Otacon is going to be an option for them as Masu dashing in. Supreme Display of Talent goes wide as Inspired also able to get into stealth. That will be able to keep him alive against Doggo and Rest, but you can see that CFO, they want nothing to do with this fight.
Yeah, that is flash on both Honkyu and Doggo. So FlyQuest actually get value out of it.
And it wasn't actually the dragon that they were looking for. It was the Otacon instead, down to 50% here as Junja puts his own pillar down as they want to take out Tibbers before this fight is going to break out. But I mean, there just aren't very many people here for CFO. It'd have to be a steal as now Rest looking for that angle, trying to find the knockups here as out he goes as Doggo just takes down Quad. They're all starting to explode and now he presses W, runs forward. Masu trying to get out of there. The axe from downtown, and he gives the thumbs up as he looks to chase out Masu here. There it is, grabs the triple, and Doggo on this Draven, looking like it won't be adding to that 10 column.
The Realm Warp Nico ultimate, beautiful engage from CFO. Honkyu is able to get Kaiwing right on top of FlyQuest, and they take down every last member. Clean ace.
Oh my goodness, CFO busy trying to count them out here, and it looked like with that Rift Herald they might be able to make the play, but it wasn't the case, and CFO now move to an 8 1,000 gold lead as we have a look at it again.
Here it is, Realm warping in, the Pop Blossom. Here comes Skywing, they get the lockup onto the front line. Inspired gets killed before the Otacon is within stealing range. And Doggo's just chasing down all of the extra members. Once again, he did go with the same experimental Hexblade build that he did versus T1, and he chases them all down.
Okay, well, we have been in this situation before, Kobe. It was the last game. This is CFO with a huge advantage here. 7.5 thousand gold. They're going to grab themselves this next dragon as well as Honkyu. Going to try and get some revenge here as Inspired is lying in wait. Looks like Honkyu's not going to be pushing too far forward. That's a lot of gold there for that Draven. Now with a 4.5 thousand individual lead and the most money in the game. CFO, let's see whether they can cleanly close this one out or whether Fly is going to miraculously find themselves a way back into this game.
Yeah. Historical game this is going to be for CFO, as we have mentioned. You know, for the region, 2015, the last time LCP/PCS/LMS made it to quarterfinals, and it just seems so right for this CFO team. The progression that we have seen from them at international events over the year, really impressive stuff, and it does seem like Honkyu and Doggo really deserving these carries for the team to move on and to try and impress.
I think it's so cool that we've got such a mixture of like veteran talent and brand new players, and then players that have been some of the best over the last few years. It's not like you've got one age group, then an old guy, or just a few veterans and then the young gun like carry. Like it's, you know, you've got Genji with Duro as the little baby, but then everybody else is old, and then you've got T1 with Faker as the old guy, but everyone else is young. Yeah. This is, I feel like, a mix of a whole lot from CFO. But all of them just work so beautifully together. All 6 of the players on this team, as Rest has come in now on the rec side and looking to play a little bit more of that aggressive style. We have seen a few different builds. Sojin seems to be the one that is a little bit more popular as far as a second item, but we did see more tanky options. I do kind of like being able to just try and assassinate your target while still being a bruiser. Yeah,
I think it is important to have that extra damage threat to really be able to threaten lethal on the back line. Definitely a big fan of the Sojin on top. FlyQuest going to do their best to withstand the onslaught of CFO, but at this point you are so outgunned just due to the giant wallet difference resulting in these item breakpoints here.
And it's a Mercurials that was picked up here by Doggo as well. So it's not, and people say this all the time, right? It's the defensive items that you get to build as a luxury item can really be the difference maker because you already have the damage. We saw he already has the damage, and now you can't CC him anymore. And that's going to make things really, really rough. Obviously, they have a whole bunch of knockups as well, so it's not just like Annie stuns and things like that that you do need to worry about, but I don't think Doggo is going to be too concerned about that one.
Yeah, and he's very tanky with this build, with the like bruisery build, with the Bloodthirster and the Hexblade. So we'll see.
They're taking it very slow.
Yeah, the split push is correct here for CFO. Keep your bottom side pushing. They've got teleport ready on Rest. So the rest of them going to apply pressure towards this Baron. 4-1 split push, and top lane's already going in their favor. So FlyQuest are getting kind of trapped in their own territory at the moment.
And it's just looking difficult to identify what the next play you should make is. As Whippo was trying to find a little bit of an angle, the pillar comes down, Tangle Barbs as well to hold him in place, but he's not exactly a priority target. Rest seems to have found Quad here, who's looking to clear out this minion wave underneath the turret to avoid that one falling down to the Rek'Sai. And CFO just moved back towards this Baron. Cheeky little ward there is actually unseen, as now the pillar is doing great work against Whippo once again. Good double knock up though, as he finds the ulti onto 2. That is going to be another Pop Blossom connecting though out of Kaiwing. He finds the double, as Whippo able to make his way up, but Doggo finds that last act. Supreme display of talent doesn't work at all, and Doggo keeps himself alive because, like you say, this guy's a tank on the Draven. Busio's turned into fish food. It's another multi-kill here as the ace comes in for CFO, and it is clean once again.
And they are looking to finish their 2-0 and move on to quarterfinals.
And I've made a lot of ending calls about decades and things like that before. Here is another one as CFO are going to do it after 10 years, making it to the top 8 here at Worlds 2025 after their extraordinary year so far. It only gets better for the Oysters.
And look at that. Deserved celebration. Smiles all around.
This team has been an absolute breath of fresh air, and now it's with some trepidation that we throw it back to the analysts.
No trepidation needed. No trepidation needed at all, because we are going to start with the celebration of CFO. As you said, a decade in the making.